In the last video, we created a component that allows users to add new products. However, we haven't performed any validation that will ensure the given data meets our requirements. So let's open up the store product request. Then, in the authorize method, let's just return true, since we won't perform any authorization, at least for now. Then, in the rules method, let's specify the requirement or validation rules for our product. So the name column will be required. It should be a string. And let's set the minimum length of the product name to 10 characters. Next, we'll validate for the brand column. It would be the same, so let's duplicate this line. Maybe let's decrease the minimum length to 5. Let's now define validation rules for category ID column. It's required, and then exists categories ID. So the provided ID should exist in the categories table. The price column will be required and numeric. The weight column will be the same. Then the description column will be required, and it should be a string. Okay, we have defined our requirements for our product. Let's now go back to the product controller. In the store method, let's type in the request to the store product request as it was before. Then let's replace the all method to validated method. Now that we have validation rules in place, let's now go back to the create component. And debug the form object again. Let's leave the form empty, then hit the save button. Okay, now we see the errors property is no longer empty. It now contains the validation error messages. Okay, let's now get rid of these lines. Then let's find the name input. And here, let's uncomment these lines. Give it a save and have a look. Okay, here is our form input looks like when it's failed. So the label input has text red 700, the input has BG red 50, bold red 500, and then text red 900. To apply these classes dynamically, we can use Vue.js class binding to the label element like this. Now we can remove the class from here. Then let's add a class binding to the input element, like so. And let's remove the classes from the class attribute. Now we can remove these lines. And let's show the message when we find a validation error message for the name input. Okay, let's do the similar way to the other inputs. Let's have a look. Okay, here we see the error messages displayed nicely in each input. However, I think it would be better to say the category field is required instead of category ID field is required. To do that, let's reopen the store product request. Then define the attributes method. There, let's map the field name with a custom name. Okay, it now says category instead of category ID. Now, the last thing that we need to do before we end this video is to modify the price. Because as you may already know that we need to store it in cents instead of dollars. There could be many different ways of doing that, but while we're here, why not we utilize the prepare for validation method, which allows us to modify the input data before the actual validation occurs. So let's define that method. Inside that, we call the merge method, which the name says is to merge the request data. It receives an array containing key value pairs that will be merged into existing data. In this case, price, and its value is taken from the existing data multiplied by 100. So, if you want to modify any value or add some values before validation occurs, you may utilize this prepare for validation method. Okay, let's test this out. Okay, it works as we expected. And with that, I can say that the add new product feature that we've been building is completed.